c'est vendredi. Hello, it's Friday at the weekend. So today, before we head off for the weekend, we are going to learn 3 new verbs we can talk about when we're talking about clothes. We can use when we're talking about clothes because we just learned a list of clothes. We're going to learn some verbs, and then next week we'll learn some more clothes we can use to talk about those some more clothes we can use to talk about what we're wearing. Okay, so there are 3 verbs. These 3 verbs are acheter, which means to buy, mettre, which means to put on, and porter, which means to wear. So I'd like you to get out your notebook, get a pen or a pencil, and be ready to take some notes. If you need to go find your notebook or find a pen or a pencil, press pause, and then come back and press play when you're ready. The first verb is acheter, to buy. Say it after me. It's acheter. Acheter. You'll sometimes notice people will slur it together and say acheter. They won't say the E. The reason we're pronouncing the E is it makes it easier to spell it that way. Acheter. So I'm going to give you the whole conjugation. There it is. I'd like you to write it down, and then we're going to go through and say each form and what it means in English. So press pause right now and just look at your screen and copy this list of how to conjugate this verb down in your notebook, all just in a column on the left. Okay, let's take a look at how it is in the negative as well. Remember, you don't need to write every one of these down, but you might write a couple of them down, right? Remember that the ne always goes in front of the verb and the pas always goes after. So we'll talk about that as we go through them all. You don't need to copy this whole thing down unless you want to. You can press pause and copy it. It's just to remind you of how the ne and the pas work to make it negative. Okay, so our first one is I buy, I am buying. Say it after me. It's j'achète. J'achète. So I could say, for example, j'achète un blouson, right? I'm buying a jacket. J'achète un blouson. Je vais au centre commercial. J'achète un blouson. Je vais au centre commercial. J'achète un blouson. Super. Négatif. Je ne vais pas au centre commercial. Je n'achète pas le blouson. I don't go to the mall. I don't buy the jacket. Je n'achète pas le blouson. I did not buy the jacket. Est-ce que tu achètes le blouson? Non, je n'achète pas le blouson. You buy or you are buying for one person. Répétez, tu achètes. Tu achètes. We usually use that in a question, right? Tu achètes le blouson? Are you buying the jacket? Tu achètes le blouson? Non, je n'achète pas le blouson. Tu achètes le blouson? Non, je n'achète pas le blouson. He buys. Répétez, il achète. Il achète. Je n'achète pas le blouson. Il achète le blouson. Je n'achète pas le blouson. Il achète le blouson. Il achète. He buys. She buys. Elle achète. Répétez, elle achète. Elle achète. Il n'achète pas le blouson. He doesn't buy the jacket. Elle achète le blouson. Il n'achète pas le blouson. Elle achète le blouson. Okay, moving into the plurals. Nous achetons. We buy. Say it after me. Nous achetons. Nous achetons. So the first time we pronounced that E, the second time we didn't. You can say it either way. Nous achetons. We are buying. Nous achetons une maison. We're buying a house. Nous achetons une maison. Nous n'achetons pas la voiture. Nous achetons la maison. We don't buy the car. We're buying the house. Nous n'achetons pas le blouson. We're not buying the jacket. Nous achetons la maison. We're buying the house. It's kind of a strange combination, but it works. For you, plural or formal, say it after me. Vous achetez. Vous achetez. Nous n'achetons pas la maison. Vous achetez la maison. Right? We're not buying the house. You're buying the house. Nous n'achetons pas la maison. Vous achetez la maison. Super. And plural for guys or guys and girls, ils achètent. Répétez, ils achètent. Ils achètent. Ils achètent la maison. They are buying the house. Ils achètent la maison. Ils achètent une grande voiture. They're buying a big car. Ils achètent une grande voiture. They buy, for girls, répétez, elles achètent. Elles achètent. Elles achètent une grande maison. Elles achètent une grande maison. Okay, the second verb. We're just going through these. You're going to have a chance to practice them all in the independent work. Say it after me. It's porter. Porter. It means to wear. You'll notice that it looks a lot like the word for door. And it is. It's very similar to the word for door, but it's not, doesn't mean door. It means to wear. Porter. Let's go through the forms of that. First, please write down this conjugation. Press pause and copy down the conjugation, and then we'll go through each form and talk about how to pronounce it. So press pause now. Okay, let's say them together. Say it after me. Je porte. Je porte. Je porte un jean bleu. Je porte un jean bleu. Je ne porte pas un pantalon. Je porte un jean bleu. You wear. Tu portes. Tu portes. Tu portes le t-shirt. Tu ne portes pas le blouson. Tu portes le t-shirt. Tu ne portes pas le blouson. He wears. Say it after me. Il porte. Il porte. Il porte une casquette. A cap. Il porte une casquette. Excellent. Il fait du soleil, alors il porte une casquette. Il fait du soleil, alors il porte une casquette. She wears. Elle porte. Elle porte. Elle porte. What's she wearing? Elle porte un sweat. Un sweat, a sweatshirt. Elle porte un sweat. Elle porte un sweat gris. A gray sweatshirt. Elle porte un sweat gris. Elle ne porte pas le sweat orange. Elle porte le sweat gris. We wear. Nous portons. Nous portons. Nous portons. Nous portons des blousons. We're wearing jackets. Nous portons des blousons. Nous portons des blousons. You are wearing plural. Répétez. Vous portez. Vous portez. Vous portez des t-shirts. You're wearing t-shirts. Vous portez des t-shirts. Vous ne portez pas un t-shirt orange. Vous portez un t-shirt bleu. So if you're talking to one person, it would be singular. Vous ne portez pas un t-shirt orange. Vous portez un t-shirt bleu. Hey, masculine and feminine together, they are wearing. Répétez. Il porte. Il porte. And for they, if it's girls, it's, I went backwards, sorry. I meant to go forward. There we go. It's elle porte. Elle porte. Okay, so you got two verbs now. We're going to add one more before we go on to practice them. Mettre means to put on, as in I put on a jacket. I put on a pair of pants. I put on a hat, right? To put on yourself as clothing. This verb is irregular, so you'll notice that its forms don't follow the same rules as lots of our other forms, other verbs. So when you learn this one, you have to remember it a little bit differently. So we're just going to focus right now on the singular forms of the verb, and then we'll add the plural forms as we go. So please copy down mettre, to put on, and the 4 singular forms that are there. And then once you've done that, press play again, and we'll keep going. So press pause, copy, and then play. Okay, the first one. I put on. Say it after me. Je mets. Je mets. Ah, il fait froid. Je mets un sweat. It's cold. I put on a sweatshirt. Il fait froid. Je mets un sweat. Je mets un sweat. Je ne mets pas le blouson. Je mets le sweat. I don't put on the jacket. I put on the sweatshirt. Je ne mets pas le blouson. Je mets le sweat. You put on. Tu mets. Say it after me. Tu mets. Tu mets. Tu mets un blouson. Il fait du vent. Right, Wendy? Il fait du vent. Alors, tu mets un blouson. Or I can make it a question. Tu mets un blouson? And you have to go up at the end. Tu mets un blouson? Are you wearing a jacket? Tu mets un blouson? Oui, je mets un blouson. Tu mets un blouson? Je mets un blouson. He puts on. Il met. Il met. He puts on. Il met. What does he put on? Il met un jean bleu. We'll stick with those few clothes that we're talking about. Il met un jean bleu. Il ne met pas le pantalon orange. Il met le jean bleu. Super. She puts on. Elle met. Elle met un blouson rose. Elle met le blouson rose. Elle ne met pas le blouson noir. Elle met le blouson rose. Elle aime le blouson rose, alors elle met le blouson rose. This is interesting. These are wrong, aren't they? Well, let's fix them together. So, nous mettons is we put on. So, ignore that she that's there. Don't pay any attention to this right here. It should be we put on. Say it after me. Nous mettons. Nous mettons. Excellent. You put on again. Don't pay any attention to the she. It's wrong. It should be you put on, plural. Say it after me. Vous mettez. Vous mettez. Excellent. And the plural for il or elle is met. Again, ignore my she right here. I'm sorry I made a mistake, but I don't want to go back and retape the whole thing. So I'll have to fix it later. Il met. They put on for a bunch of guys. Elle met. They put on for girls. So if you need to go back to copy these down, you can certainly do that. We've gone through all the forms, so you have the conjugations. We're not worried about pronouncing them perfectly just yet. We want to get a grip on how they work. So we're going to go on to do the conjugation, work with the conjugations. It'll be very useful in our independent work. So just have those lists next to you while you're working, and you can fill in all the answers that you need to using the correct forms of each of those verbs. Like I said, don't worry about pronouncing them absolutely correctly today because we're just getting the forms down. So this is where I say au revoir, à bientôt, et à